Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of First Pitch. As always, I'm your host Braxton Wheeler. Joined with me is head coach Ryan Brittle. Coach, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man.
Yes, sir. Good. Same with me. Can't complain. So last week we started out talking about, I believe it was Washington Lee was the last game we talked about, but we've had a long week of games. We've had 6 games in 7 days. Personally, I'm pretty tired, mentally tired, but I'm hanging in there. Coach, how are you hanging in there? Good with the?
I'm doing all right. Trying to do a little reflection and introversion to figure out how we can win a few more games, because I know the team has the potential to do that. And as coaches, we need to figure out how to maximize each and every player on the roster and win as many games as we can. So just late nights thinking about that and trying to get a few W's on the board.
That's right. And what was interesting is when we opened up against CNU, we started out with that weird assessment day schedule. And before we started out with our conference series against Averett, the power all of a sudden went out for spring break and nobody was on campus. And it was funny because before we were dressing to go out for the Averett series, we all have our flashlights in the locker room getting dressed before we play a baseball game. And it was a really, really weird situation. The sleeping situation was also weird. Coach offered if we can come, we could go stay up there and have some heat, and Coach Austin as well. But I think everybody got some good sleep prepared for the Averett series. So I guess we'll jump right into that and talk about that. So game 1 of the Averett series, we won 17-5 in 8 innings. It was an awesome performance considering how things have went necessarily. Jake Holland went 7 innings pitched, struck out 7. Garrett Dorton went 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs. Tim had 3 hits, and actually in that game, all 9 starters recorded a hit that game. So it was we came out and swung the bat well. Jake Holland threw a ton of strikes. He did a great job. I believe he only walked 2 people. And we rolled through that game, Coach.
We're starting to swing the bats a little bit better. Certainly Holly's been our most consistent guy on the mound all spring, and he continued to do that on Saturday in the first game against Averett. And we've played pretty good defense for the most part, and came out on top of a good conference opening win against a team that likes to beat us and that we like to beat. So it was a good W for us, and moved into the second game, and we really did have it was a crazy weekend.
Yeah, it was weird.
I woke up Saturday morning with no power, and it was probably 60 degrees in my house. It was pretty cold. My family had to go to somebody else's place to sleep that night, but no power in the dorms, no hot water. So it was kind of a crazy night, but it is what it is, and you go on, you play. And the second game of the series against Averett, I thought we competed well. We compete in every game we play, but ended up making some costly mistakes that really put us behind the 8 ball, and could never make up for the mistakes that we made. Mm-hmm. Joey actually threw the ball pretty good, mm-hmm. And Luke Bryant came in relief and really only made one mistake, and it hurt a little bit, but he threw the ball well, and look forward to getting those guys back on the mound this weekend.
That's right, yeah. Anytime Joey pitches, he's always going to keep you in the game. That's one thing about Joey. He just always will have you in a game and give your team a chance to win. Sure. Yeah, we actually had 10 hits apiece with them as well. And Garrett Dorton, man, he was hot that game as well. He was 2 for 4, Nate was 3 for 5. So Garrett's been on a tear right now, knock on wood. Sometimes I don't want to jinx you, Garrett, but yeah, he's been on a tear. And moving into game 3, so we were trying to win the series. Obviously, we all, Averett, we were talking about it last week, how there's no love lost between both teams, and we did just that. We won the game 11-2, excuse me. And Drew pitched 7 innings and struck out 10. It was an absolute amazing performance by Drew. It actually won him the Pitcher of the Week award, and Garrett also was Player of the Week. So what do you have to say about our team's performance and Drew's performance?
So Callahan, it's so good to see a young man that works so hard and mm-hmm. such a great teammate. And there's a lot of them on our team, but for him to go out and to finally have some great success on the mound, he's worked so hard at it. Good for him. I'm glad for him, proud of him, and he really had his changeup going on Sunday, and hitters were swinging over the top of it, and he threw enough fastballs for strikes and breaking balls for strikes to keep the hitters off balance. And he gave up. I think he gave up a hit in the first inning, maybe 2 hits in the first inning, and then maybe didn't give up a hit the next 6. Yeah. And so really was a pretty dominating performance. And he did get pitcher of the week, and Dorton got player of the week. Dorton's like 20 for his last 15. Yeah. It seems like every time he goes to the plate, either walks or hits a absolutely scorcher to the outfield. So good for those guys. We also have some other guys that have been doing well. Tim Ortega's been swinging the bat pretty good. Quietly, Nathaniel Anthony's been really swinging it good, and Mosier had a good weekend for us too. So those guys are heating up. The guys towards the bottom of our lineup are heating up a little bit. Jake Martin's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. He hadn't got many hits to show for it, but he is swinging it better. And look forward to getting Kyle Anstis going. And last night, Scott Breeden, last 2 games actually, Scott Breeden swung the bat pretty good and gotten some hits and contributed. So good to see those guys going. And we got some other guys on the bench that'll get hot eventually and get themselves in the lineup and be big contributors to the team. So
that's right. And that game 3 as well, B-Rob went 3 for 5, a couple RBIs. And B-Rob's came a long way since freshman year. We always talk about
a long way.
And I'm proud of him. That's one of my good friends. So I'm glad that it's awesome to see what he's doing and how he's bought into it. And he's just getting better each and every day. So, Coach, since we had good pitching performances, game 1, 2, and 3 against Averett, actually we had a pretty deep bullpen considering we played Roanoke yesterday. We did lose the game 9-4, but I believe we competed really well. The first part of that game, the half of the game, was really intense weekday games. I'm not saying anything about weekday games, but sometimes the intensity is not as much as a conference game. But I felt the intensity yesterday, which is good to feel. And I believe we competed really well. And like you said, Scott had 2 hits, Nate with 3, Tim with 3. Garrett had another 2 hits. So, Coach, what about Roanoke?
So Roanoke's obviously a quality team. Matt McGuire's one of my good friends in coaching, and I have a lot of respect for him and his staff and his team. And but man, I sure would like to beat those guys. We just the games that we have lost this year have come from self-inflicted wounds, really. Walks or hit by pitches or errors in the field, and that's typically that way, but it seems like our innings that we do those things that like compounds and we do multiple of those things in one inning, and the game kind of gets away from us to where we can't scratch ourselves back in. But we need to learn from that. I believe wholeheartedly in this team and know that we have talent on the field that can win. We're going to get a couple guys back this weekend, I think. Noah Collins on the mound.
Let's go.
And Dominic Claxton hopefully at the top of our lineup. We look forward to getting him back in there and wreaking some havoc on the base paths. So I look forward to that. And getting Dom back in the top of our lineup kind of lengthens us out a little bit. We can drop B-Rob down in the order, 5, 6 down in there somewhere, and lengthens our batting lineup out and makes it more difficult on the pitchers. So anyway, tough loss. I was pretty disappointed last night losing, not in the effort that our team gave, but just in losing in general. And but we'll get it going. We'll get it going again. We got 3 days in a row to get a little practice in. We got a developmental game on Wednesday here at 4:30 against Danville Community College. And look forward to seeing some guys on the mound and some guys playing in the field.
That's right. So, Coach, this is, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but how do you think our team competed this week as a whole, considering how many games we played?
I think we did a really good job of competing, and we always have. We just haven't always played good enough baseball to win, but we always compete well, and I'm proud of our guys for doing that.
And I was asking the players a question because I didn't get one sent in this week. So I was trying to ask them what would be a good question to ask. And Tim said a little bit right before this, what's the greatest feeling from being a head coach?
So it's interesting that you asked that question because Sunday after the game, Grant Wickline, who's the head baseball coach at Bassett High School, who played here for us, he came to the game on Sunday and was able to talk to him, and you know, he loves Ferrum College. There's so many guys out there that love Ferrum College baseball. And as a coach, the reason why I coach and the reason why our coaches on our coaching staff coach is to have impact on young men and to help them become better people, better fathers, better husbands, and better members of the community. And to have guys like that come back, that's the greatest feeling. There's a young man as an assistant coach at Virginia Wesleyan. His name's John Spears. He was a player at Radford University when I was there. I recruited him, and what a great young man that guy is. He got a family. He's a good father, a good husband. He's always smiling. And I'll say this too. There's a lot of guys on this team, but B-Rob's a guy I think about all the time because he was standing on the fence when he got here his freshman year, and he could have went either way.
That's right.
And he went the right way. He's a quality young man. He's going to be a quality father and husband and quality member of his community. He's thankfully finally having success on the baseball diamond, which is no coincidence that you have success on the diamond when you're successful off of the diamond. Right. And that's what gives me the greatest pleasure in this game. Not the wins and losses, although I love to win ball games and to win championships, but guys like that, guys like you, Brax, you'll come back here in 10, 15 years and always be a Panther and it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said last week, it's just you got to realize it's bigger than yourself, and how much impact it's a school and everything that baseball teach you and sports teach you as a whole. So that's interesting, Coach. So let's talk about We in Peace this weekend a little bit. We're slated to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hopefully we can keep it that way, I hope, because I feel like we've had a lot of double headers because of the weather. But what field is it? I was trying to look.
So we're playing at Ting Stadium, which is North Main Athletic Complex. It's in Cary. It's the home of the Salamanders, which is a Coastal Plain League team. And we're playing a single game on Friday at 7 o'clock. The weather on Sunday doesn't look great. There has been, as of right now, there's been no change to the schedule. If the schedule does change, it will move from a single game on Saturday and a single game on Sunday to a doubleheader on Saturday starting at 4 o'clock. And we'll play two starting at 4 o'clock if the schedule changes, and we'll know that on Thursday and put it up on the website if we do change it. But the weather on Sunday is very questionable. The stadium there is a beautiful stadium. It's a turf field, so it won't get rained out unless it's just pouring rain. You know, that's the only way it can get rained out if it is actually raining. So we'll get 3 games in. I don't know what days they'll be, but we'll definitely get 3 games in. But we're definitely playing Friday at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, when he said something about the turf field at practice, we were looking back at all the days we used to play travel ball and rec tournaments and stuff, some of that stuff up in Baltimore. So it's been a long time since we played on a turf field. So we're all looking forward to that. It'll be really fun. And last question, Coach. Who is your greatest role model, either personally or as a coach?
So, you know, just like I'm sure he is for you, but my dad and in general all of my baseball coaches, one of the reasons why I love to coach is because to have an impact on young men, and the people that had the biggest impact on me have been my baseball coaches. My dad was my first baseball coach, and on up through Little League and Dixie Youth and high school baseball, and then Coach Naff here at Ferrum College and Coach Hartman at Virginia Tech, and all the people who I've worked for as coaches, they have had the biggest impact on my life other than our Savior Jesus Christ. And so those are the guys that I look up to, that I depend on for advice, and really you know, hopefully carry a little bit of each one of them on in my life and hand it down to the next player, coach, or person that I come in contact with.
That's right. I couldn't say it any better myself, in the exact same way, Coach. So that's all I have. Come out to the developmental games Wednesday and come support us for that. And then come out, if you can, We in Peace this weekend. So that's all I have. I'm Braxton Weaver with head coach Ryan Brittle. I'll see you next week.